WIFO FM Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO for this 12th day of September, and it's brought to you by Connection Coffee and Creamer, O'Quinn & Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, Van's Barbecue, and First Southern Bank.
Nothing brings people together quite like a great cup of coffee. At the Connection Coffee and Creamery, you will find a place where conversations begin and friendship never ends. Whether you're looking for a space to connect or a caffeine pick-me-up on your way to work, we've got just what you're looking for. From delicious handcrafted beverages to rich creamy ice cream or a filling breakfast and lunch items, we've got you covered. Short on time? Order through our Joe app or give us a call and we will have your items ready for pickup in our drive-thru. We are open Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 5, and Saturdays, 8 to 2. We are located at 254 West Cherry Street. We look forward to connecting with you.
Are you looking for an insurance company that you can call and talk to a live person? Are you looking for an insurance company where you can walk in and talk to an agent? Are you looking for an insurance company that offers multiple companies so they can try and get you the best rate? If you said yes to any of these, then you need to call or come by O'Quinn & Associates Insurance Financial Services. We offer multiple companies so we can find the best fit for you. Give us a call at 385-1000 or stop by our office at 212 South First Street right here in Jesup.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jesup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jesup.
Hi, I'm Raymond Brown.
And I'm Mandy Yeomans. At First Southern Bank, our customers are like family. As a locally owned community bank, we're dedicated to helping our clients succeed.
We have loans for every need, whether it's personal or business. We have lines of credit, auto loans, equipment loans, and of course, we offer mortgages. Stop by our bank or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to barbecue, Van's Barbecue in Jesup is the place to be. A small family-owned business located at 1876 on the Savannah Highway. Van's Barbecue has lunch and dinner special. Stop by or call to make an order. The number to call, 427-3358. Van's Barbecue's new manager is Sarah Van. Van's Barbecue offers potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans, and don't forget their delicious mac and cheese. Also, check out their shrimp plates, the best in town. Yes, when it comes to barbecue, head to Van's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. Stop by and tell them the Big Dog sent you. Once again, the number to order, 427-3358.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You doing good?
Yep.
All right, glad to hear it. And we will go ahead and get started with our guest this morning. We have a guest in this morning. Who is our guest?
As we mentioned, the city of Jesup has several contested races, all to be decided in November. Got a contested mayor's race, a rematch of last time they ran. The incumbent is Ralph Hickox and the challenger Tyrone Johnson. Tyrone's running again, so Tyrone, appreciate you being here on the show. And tell us what made you decide to jump in this mayor's race for the second time.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Let me first of all say hello to everybody in Wayne County and everybody in the city of Jesup. And the reason that I have entered this race again is because I believe that better is possible. I certainly believe that better is possible, and I think we're at a moment in time where we certainly do need leadership that is clear, leadership that is responsive, leadership that is capable, and I don't see that we have that. We've now had 2 years with the current occupant in place, and it is my contention and the contention of a lot of our citizens that we should go in a different direction. When I say different direction in terms of how we are being led. It is my firm belief that we the people, we have a lot of concerns in our city, and I think that those concerns are best addressed by someone such as myself.
Again, we got the totals from last election. Again, the sad part of the last election is less than 50% of the people decide the race. Only 46% of the registered voters voted. 1,651 out of 3,555 were registered to vote, and 46% decide the race. The totals were Ralph Hickok's 968 to yours 671. Election day totals were 360 to 328 in favor of the mayor. Advanced voting 585 to 412, and absentee 21 to 19. So 968 to 671. That's a pretty big difference. So how do you make up that difference this time around?
Sure. I'm glad you brought that you mentioned that. I want to first of all say that election was historic in terms of voter turnout. Typically in a mayoral race, we average somewhere between 26 to 27%. In the race between the current occupant and myself, really the voter turnout skyrocketed from what it normally would be in a municipal election. For us to have 46% participation was a high watermark in terms of voter turnout. I want to also say that neither of us got 1,000 votes. The reality is I lost the race with fewer than 50 votes per precinct. That's a margin that can be closed. There were lots of folks that didn't go vote, obviously, and we need to give those folks an opportunity to better understand who I am, what my vision is for the city. And I think once they understand that, I think there'll be more to come in my direction, and I think we'll get a different result.
What do you think's wrong with the city? You mentioned you don't think the city's moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. What do you see if you get elected? What do you see changing?
Well, one thing that would change immediately is the fact that we have ethical standards in place that need to be upheld. I also know that when it comes down to leadership, it requires that when things go off track in our city, that we hear the voice of the mayor. For example, we've got all of these situations that have gone on, from the former police chief with the sexual harassment matter to former city manager, how that was handled, $1 million that it cost our city as a result of how that was handled. We have situations even now where we got a lieutenant on the fire department, as well as a deputy sheriff. These things that have taken place, ironically, have taken place in a building that is owned by our mayor. Now, he may not own the business, but he most certainly owns the building. And when things like this happen, our residents need to have the assurance that they're going to have someone in place who will speak truth to power, who will speak against things of this nature. I haven't heard I hear people say, well, he doesn't own the business. Well, he may not own the business, but if the business is located in a building that he owns, just like we had a situation where one of our city council persons fell through the floor at another building that he owns, the reality is, who is checking who? We should never have a situation where we have employees of our city commit various infractions and that it's sort of like it's swept under the rug, the way I see it. The mayor should be someone who is experienced, who has a moral voice that can be heard, a person who could put an end to bickering and divisiveness, a person who seeks solutions to simple problems and matters, a person who is confident and can show responsive leadership, who's transparent and inclusive in governmental practices. It's a time for us to place the human condition back on the meeting agenda. As you know, I went before the city council nearly 2 years ago asking that they change the policy and that they embrace the Board of Education's policy around public participation. We're just getting to a point within the last month or so that they're moving in that direction. We need honest focus on our seniors and honest focus on our youth. There should be items in our budget that specifically speak to young people beyond a swimming pool. Having been a lifeguard at Cracker Williams, having been a lifeguard at Hall Richardson, having taught aquatics and taught probably hundreds of kids in Jesup and Wayne County how to swim, I highly value having a swimming pool and the importance of that. but there are other things that young families seek for their children, whether it's a water, a splash pad, whether it's a skating facility where they can go and rollerblade and do whatever they do in terms of skating outside an appropriate location. So we need to focus on families, focus on young families in particular. I've spent my entire life working with young people. My entire life, even my business, is focused on young people. I take young people all across the world. So focusing on families, focusing on the betterment of our community, that's what I'm all about. And I think that's what the mayor and that's what the council should be about. We should never have a council, never have a situation where we're not addressing the needs of people. And that's the kind of mayor you would find with me.
And just joining us, Tyrone Johnson, studio candidate for mayor. I guess we're just assuming everybody knows who Tyrone Johnson is. You mentioned you have a business. So tell us a little bit about Tyrone Johnson.
Sure.
Where you grew up, where you went to school, things like that.
Thank you for that opportunity. So I am a Tyrone Johnson. I am a native citizen of this town. My parents, my dad was James E. Johnson Sr. My mother is Corrine Johnson. My mother and father both were retirees of what we knew to be ITT Rayonier, now known as RAM. My mother worked in the chemical division there. She was a lead chemical operator at Rayonier in the lab. And my father worked for the company for 33 years, and she worked for 30 years. My father was also the chairman of the Wayne County Commission. My dad served during a time of growth in our county. Everything from Coastal Pines Technical College, which was once known as Automobile Technical College, the federal prison. Dad signed off on the deeding of the land for Wayne County as chairman of the commission for the prison to be built. The building of the post office, the growth that we experienced in the 80s, the collaborative leadership that we had in our city. I remember Dad traveling along with up to D.C. to visit with Lindsey Thomas and folks like Bill Durrett and Mr. Harper and all of the civic leaders working together in our town in order to move this place forward. So he was involved in some of everything imaginable in terms of the growth of our city and the things that we know and experience now. And in terms of me, my leadership goes back to my days as a youth. Growing up in Bennett Union Baptist Church, the oldest church in Wayne County, I was afforded the opportunity to walk in the shadow of great leaders like Isaiah Bowes and L.C. Cogdell and Arthur Williams and my father and others. And my growing up presented me enormous opportunities to lead. In Wayne County Public Schools, I was the first African-American student to serve as student government president. I was president of the freshman class, sophomore class, the junior class. I was track captain for 2 years. So leadership is who I am, is what I've always been about. In fact, even talking about leadership, I'm one of the few students who also went from kindergarten through college and never missed a day of school. I was recognized in high school for having never missed a day of school. Not only not missing a day of school, not being late. And I learned that from Mr. Charles Smith, who had worked nearly 40 years at Rayonier and never missed a day and never was late. So having leaders in the community who not only stand to be counted, but who stand where it counts. That's the difference. A lot of folks will stand to be counted, but very few persons will stand where it counts. And we need a mayor who will stand where it counts. And I'm submitting to the people that I am that person. Not only my leadership style is an inclusive style. If I am mayor, you can best believe I will meet with every district of our city. There's no reason after 2 years that our community, the various districts, have not had a personal conversation with the mayor. As mayor, I avail myself to going to every single district in partnership with the commissioner of that district to hear and understand the needs of that specific district, because districts, they're different. We don't have always the same need across the city. So let's figure out how we can move Jesup forward in a better way. If Jesup ranks 104, what must we do to get it to be in the top 100? What must we change? We have a comprehensive plan. We need to follow that comprehensive plan, and we need to continue to add items to that comprehensive plan. So I submit that if we want a leader who is focused on people, who will listen to people, who will go anywhere. In fact, I'll go a step further to say that I am afraid of nobody, that I will work with anybody to assure that everybody in the city gets fair treatment and that we can move our city forward. We have a lot of small things that can be resolved in our city, and we got some other things that are larger, but I do think we need to work together in order to make that happen. So I'll now throw it back to you. Give me other questions.
Again, and looking at the race, there's a lot of contested races. The three incumbents in districts 1, 4, and 5 not seeking election. Haven't met Margaret Rawls or Katrina Dubas yet, but people are saying that you got these people to run. Do you know these people that are running for office? Did you encourage them to run?
I know Jonathan McCullough. I know Margaret Evans. I know
Margaret Rawls.
I'm sorry, Margaret Evans Rawls, because the maiden name is Evans. I'm sorry.
Did you encourage her to
Margaret Evans Rawls. I know Mike Deal. I know Ricky Reddish. I know Perry Morgan. I know them all. I'm not responsible for about anybody doing anything. Everybody moves in the direction they want to move. I will encourage anybody to run for office because I'm a firm believer that every race should always be contested in the city of Jesup. We shouldn't have a situation where races are contested. We should always have the best ideas presented out to the public so the public can make up its mind as to what it wants to do. So I'm not responsible for anybody.
Yeah, if you just joined us, Tyrone Johnson, candidate for mayor in the studio. Where do you stand on the city manager? Because just looking at the tea leaves, it seems like there's people running. That seems to be the issue. So where do you stand on the city manager?
Yeah, people feel that that's undergirding some of the things that are going on regarding investigation and so forth. I would simply say, based on my understanding, if there's an investigation going on, I don't want to comment on that at all. Anything concerning the city manager, I do think the issue between her and Perry was a personnel issue. People have different leadership styles and different ways of handling things, and maybe it was not handled right based on what he has expressed. But I'll just simply say, I guess that'll work its way out. Yeah.
Last time this race took place between you and Ralph Hickox, the one thing I remember is all this talk about a background check. They kept asking, are you going to do a background check? Whatever took place in that, and are you willing to do a background check this time around?
Do a background check for
a criminal background check.
Why should I have to do a criminal background check?
I'm just saying that's what was brought up last time. There was all kinds of accusations that there's something there.
No, there's no there there. There was no there then, and there's no there now. So I don't see why that would be even presented as a question, to be honest.
But that's what I remember last time around. I mean, that's all I heard about it. The whole race. That's what I heard. I mean, that was an issue last time between you and your opponent.
No, it wasn't an issue at all. Not to anybody that I was dealing with, it's not an issue. So if it was an issue with someone, it was obviously maybe an issue for folks who were spreading a lie. So I would assume that would be the case. What I will say is that this city deserves ethical leadership. It deserves a leader who understands people. It deserves a leader who will stand tall for our city. See, people will do devilish things. You know, when I think about back in January, the Wayne County Commission rescinding the third-party seat that I held on the regional commission. And folks want to know, well, why would they do something like that? Well, Jesup and Wayne County fully understand that we have hiccups. We have hiccups on the county level, and we have hiccups on the city level. And those hiccups keep exposing themselves. It is our duty to make sure that we have leaders and folks in place who will follow the law, folks in place who will do right by others, folks in place who are not operating with an evil or vindictive or a divisive or discriminatory mindset. My being on the regional commission, I was bringing home resources to Wayne County. So the new commissioners arrive, they make a decision to do something that had never been done before against anyone. I'm a native son of this place. So you would think that if I'm being mistreated, that people would speak up to that. You know, we have a lot of folks running around right now talking about, what do you call it, paper ballots. I mean, can you believe this day and time that we have leadership in Wayne County actually proposing paper ballots? Have we lost our minds? But that's the kind of leadership we have. We have leadership that is proposing something as ludicrous as that. I go a step further. Instead of fixing problems that exist, we rather make problems that don't exist. So let's take a problem that does exist. We have a problem in our in the way that things are handled in our registrar's office and voter registrar's office. I'm going to show you something right here. Last week I received a voter registration card for my dad. Now my dad has been dead 15 years as of next month. How in the world would I receive a voter registration card for my dad? And my neighbor down the street, her mother has been dead 21 years. Voter registration card for her mother. How can we have any assurance that there are not people in the Jesup cemetery voting in our elections? Did I in fact lose the last election? Or were there some folks maybe coming out of Jesup cemetery voting against me? What I will say, if you received a voter registration card for a deceased relative as I did, I would advise that you call the election fraud line at 877-725-9797 and that you contact the Secretary of State to let him know that you are receiving a voter registration card for your deceased relative. We shouldn't have those kind of things happening in Wayne County. Will our county commission go and fix that problem? And turn back to the city. As mayor, there are small problems that need to be addressed. Small issues that need to be addressed. And they're big issues. But let me give you one of the small ones. Right now, we have citizens crossing the street to put their trash can on the opposite side of the street. What sense does that make? Why should any resident, my 88-year-old neighbor, why should she have to cross the street to bring her trash can to my side of the street? She pays $12 for her trash to be retrieved. I pay $12 for mine to be retrieved. So there's an inequity right there. It's a simple problem that our city commission could fix. And what I want the citizens to know, if you currently cross the street to take your trash can to be retrieved, elect me as your mayor, and I promise you it will stop. Silly things, stupid things that we do and can't even give a rationale as to why we do it. And the rationale is usually insufficient. Well, that's to help save fuel. I mean, really? I mean, is that what if we resorted to the point that we're treating our residents as though they're lesser than? We pay the taxes. So why not give everybody the same exact service? When I retrieve my trash can from in front of my home, I don't want your trash can to sit there for the rest of the day. Nor should I have to call you to come and get it. Nor should I have to take it back to your side of the street. Simple problem that can be fixed in a flash. If our commission and mayor, if our government is focused on people, small things like that can get fixed. Let me pivot. Youth. The youth of the city deserve to have, and we need to find a way of putting a youth summer jobs program in place. Growing up, I had the privilege of being in the shadow of very good mayors. Joel Green, Jerry McDaniel, Herb Shaw. It presented an opportunity for me to learn a lot of things about our city. Right now, we're not mentoring kids. Their their understanding of civics, it's amazing. And we need to help educate citizens about this place that we call home. The mayor must be an ambassador. You must be able to sell this place. That means you've got to know the place well. I know our mayor is not from Jesup, not a native of Jesup. I know that you are a native of Jesup, but we pretty much think that you are because you've been here so long. You're such a part of the fabric of the local community, and you contribute in a way that's important. Well, it is important for us to shape the next generation. Civics education is important. I run into citizens all the time who don't have an understanding as to why they can't vote in the Jesup City election. And I say to them, do you pay taxes twice? Do you pay county taxes and city taxes? Do you have to go to the county office and pay taxes and the city hall to pay taxes? If you don't go to both places, chances are you don't vote in the city of Jesup. The major demarcations, this radio station is not in the city of Jesup. It sits right out on the outskirts. So I tell people, if you go beyond WLOP, WIFO, you're no longer in the city. If you go beyond Neesmith Chevrolet, you're no longer in the city. If you go beyond Coastal Pines Technical College, you're no longer in the city. If you go beyond the bypass, Vans Auto or Vans Barbecue, you're no longer in the city. This election is about the folks who live between those points. We've got over 30,000 residents in Wayne County, right shy of 10,000 in the city.
You know how many registered, though?
How many registered voters?
Yeah, because the last time there's only 3,555 registered voters.
I'm told we have right over 4,000 voters, like 4,030.
We got 10,000 people, only 4,000 registered voters in the city of Jesup.
Well, everybody, of course, it's not a voting age because you got children and you got elderly and so forth. But we do have over 4,000 some of our residents, and we had quite a few to vote in that last election.
We're getting to the close. Like I said, I got to do a coach's show, but. Sure. One, like the last question we asked, the election's in November. When people go in to vote, why should they vote for Tyrone Johnson for mayor?
Mm-hmm. They should vote for me because I am the person who's going to listen. I'm the person who's going to be accessible. I'm the person who's going to lead, find solutions to problems. I'm the person who is going to fight for you. I'm the person who's going to fight for you. Right now, we don't have much of that going on at all. When people come to the city council meeting, they should be able to participate following a structure. So my campaign is all about we the people. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in fighting for people, and I believe that better is possible. We want greater possibilities, new opportunities, healthier communities, and better living in Jesup. Elect me as your mayor, and you will find that we will deliver on those things.
Okay, we appreciate you coming in. I'm sure we'll get you and Ralph in before the election. The election's in November. Early voting starts 3 weeks before. But again, appreciate you coming in.
Hold on, Bob. I just forgot something, Butch, if I might.
Sure, Tom.
I wanted to make everybody aware that I forgot to do this, I am requesting and I'm issuing a challenge to the mayor for a debate. I didn't do that on the air the last time. I'm doing it now. The AARP has requested that we debate on September 25th at Weston Sizzler at 12 noon. I have accepted their invitation. I want to encourage all civic organizations, particularly the Chamber of Commerce, the Kiwanis, the NAACP, all these local groups we have, Wayne Empowerment. We need to bring the civic leaders together, sponsor a debate so that the citizens of Jesup can ask questions of the mayor and ask questions of me unfiltered. I'm not afraid to go anywhere to have a conversation about this city. It is unconscionable that a person would lead our city and not give the citizens of the city the opportunity to ask questions. questions, unfiltered. If he is ready, I am ready. I will go anywhere, anytime, any place to answer the questions and respond to the people of Jesup, because that's who I am and that's who I will always be. So the challenge has been issued to you, Mr. Mayor. Will you stand up to the challenge? Meet me. You put the location. I'll pay for the building. But let's have an opportunity for the people of Jesup to speak and to be heard. Thank you, gentlemen, for the opportunity on today.
All right, Tyrone Johnson, our special guest this morning on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, candidate for mayor of the city of Jesup. World-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Connection Coffee and Creamery, by O'Quinn and Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, First Southern Bank, and Van's Barbecue.